Breathe. And now I am so happy to see Jagakarukar, my angel. Can we talk with you today? Okay, so we'll find out. Okay, so now, so here we go. Okay, so Japa Saraswati, will you talk for us?
Sure. This message is about earthquake preparedness. My dear light workers, I know this will be a long session, but very important. Here again, I found a short tableau after awakening a dream that I saw a mid-aged lady who was in her kitchen with an open oven as taking her pot into her oven. Then I saw that she was jumping up about 1 foot high, straight up, but then I realized that her building was quickly going down, like an elevator was going down too fast, but her body was just staying there for a split second, so she appeared to be jumping up really quickly. I learned that would have been an earthquake several years ago when I was in Kobe, Japan, when about 1 month after that terrible earthquake, yikes, they were still reeling, and their tall buildings actually pancaked for about 8 floors. That leveled those floors became only 1 floor. Now I just want all of you to be as prepared as you could for this Aquarian shift. That is why you might be giving you to be ready for our changing Earth. That is why we are seeing about these terrible situations to be understanding what might be happening and be able to let go of fear. And here we have been preparing for our survival kit manual from Kriyas from Yogi Bhajan from February 17th, 1976. That is 50 years ago, but now is our time when we didn't believe that we would not have an earthquake. But when our yogis tried that, they felt better from very difficult situations. Today is our Kriya to prepare for earthquake, page 12. Then you can later use this Kriya to adjust your magnetic field after an earthquake on page 13. Also is great for other shock situations. Please keep your link for the survival kit to keep that. So I texted this to everybody to the group chat, and I also texted the photos to the group chat, and then we'll share the photos as we're doing the Kriya, but we already have this information. So I also already sent us the link to the survival kit. It's both in the text message as well as to everybody's email. And Siri Gian is asking that we print the survival kit so that it's on paper in case we don't have electricity for phones or computers.
Can I just ask a quick question on this?
Yes.
Um, it's 70 pages and I started doing it and I already ran out of ink on my printer. So I'm wondering if there's a better way. And I looked up the survival kit, and it's not accessible out of print, on Amazon and Abe Books. So I'm just thinking, if somebody already has it in hard copy, it might be easier to access it and bring it to a printer and have them, or bring it somewhere and have, pages printed. Just a question on that. Yeah.
No, the only way that can I realize how to do that, you can take it like to Staples or off Office Depot, and it's not that terrible. It's not that too money.
Okay, so you can print at Staples from your own device.
Yeah,
Okay.
They have you email it to an email address. They'll also do it at like FedEx or Kinko's. Um,
right.
a number of different places if you need a printer. That would be easier.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you. Thank you. I'll bring it to Staples then.
Okay, good.
Sorry to interrupt, but
no, good question, Agyapal.
okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, Then we have found Edgar Casey's longtime prediction video about why our Earth's crust is changing, including earthquakes and many other intuitives, astrologists, spiritual mystics, Yogi Bhajan, etc., and more say the same. So here's a link for the video that we will see. Then we begin our Kriya as led by Agyapal. Thank you so much. And then we'll do our meditation, which is 5 minutes of CNR. Oh, no, 1 minute of heart pumping, 5 minutes of CNR, which is strong heart breath, which is a belly breath, nose inhalation for 6 seconds, nose exhalation for 6 seconds from out of your heart center. Slide from fear, let go from any of your old, nasty, difficult stuff. No reality, no thinking, no everyday self. Only feel, just be light. Then 2 minutes for awareness using your notes. Are we ready?
Yes,
Okay. Hold on. I have to do I have to do this. Please do heart breath for a moment while I do tech.
sure. Okay. So, Jagat Kuru, can you be able to talk with us? Oh, um, would you, and if you could, please unmute yourself. Okay, she's not going to talk. Okay, thank you. So, heart breath.
DNA.
So, the idea is that we have this video to be sure to use your own heart breath and or with CNR during the video, because you can do this even when it was live. It was difficult times. Okay, do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, so that means that something is, if you hear or know something is terrible, and that moment, begin with heart breath or with CNR during a fearful time immediately. That's what we're going to do. Okay, continue.
The hum in your chest.
The hum in your chest is not anxiety. It is resonance.
As you listen,
Right now, as you listen to this, the North Magnetic Pole is running. It has reached recorded speeds of up to 55 kilometers every year, racing away from Canada toward Siberia. This is the most erratic movement in modern history. It is moving so fast that global infrastructure is struggling to keep up. Major international airports have quietly begun renaming their runways because the magnetic alignment of the Earth has shifted so far that pilot compasses no longer match the old maps. Recalibration is happening everywhere, but they aren't telling you why. Nature is already reacting. Migratory birds are showing signs of deep disorientation, arriving thousands of miles off course. Auroras are appearing in the southern skies where they don't belong, a signal that the Earth's invisible shield is thinning. Open the compass on your phone right now and watch the needle. It is struggling to find a center that is no longer there. According to Edgar Cayce, in Reading 3976-15, this is not a random event. He warned that the shifting of the poles would be the final signal, the moment the Earth changes its skin. But modern researchers have found a critical threshold hidden in his data, a point of no return known as the 17-degree anomaly. The world's invisible grid is breaking. Every smartphone, every commercial flight, and every nuclear submarine relies on a single data set: the World Magnetic Model. It is the digital map produced by NOAA and the British Geological Survey. Usually, this map is updated every 5 years. But in 2019, the system hit a dead end. The North Magnetic Pole began to sprint. It moved so fast and so erratically that scientists were forced to issue an emergency update. They had to recalibrate the world's GPS before the navigation error became catastrophic. Recalibration is happening everywhere, but they aren't telling you why. At Tampa International Airport, they recently had to close their primary runways, not for repairs, but to change the numbers painted on the asphalt. The magnetic shift had become so great that the old pilot maps no longer match the Earth beneath the wings. Right now, the pole has officially left Canada. It is heading straight for Siberia. As the pole races, the Earth's protective magnetic shield is thinning. You feel this in your own nervous system. A global, persistent, humming anxiety. Your body is an antenna, reacting to the weakening of the planet's shield. According to Reading 3976-15, Edgar Cayce warned that this polar movement would act as the master trigger. He saw that when the poles lost their stability, the human systems built on top of them would implode. The Earth is not just breaking, it is rearranging. On January 19, 1934, Edgar Cayce entered a trance and opened file 3976-15. He didn't describe a typical disaster. He saw a total physical reboot of the planetary skin. He saw the west coast of America fracturing, splitting away from the main continent. He saw the greater portion of Japan simply disappearing into the sea. And he warned that the map of Northern Europe would change, as he put it, in the twinkling of an eye. To understand how this is possible, think of the Earth as a cracked eggshell floating on a sea of molten rock. Beneath the crust lies the asthenosphere, a layer of hot, plastic stone. It acts as a lubricant. Science calls this crustal displacement. It was a theory so compelling that Albert Einstein himself wrote the foreword to the book that described it. Einstein agreed. The entire outer shell of the Earth can slide in a single piece, moving continents into new positions in a matter of weeks. What triggers the slide? The weight of the ice. Cayce warned that when the poles melt, the weight distribution of the planet becomes unbalanced. Centrifugal force takes over. The planet tries to find a new center of gravity, and the crust slips. In 1958, the year Cayce marked as the beginning of this cycle, global powers quietly launched the International Geophysical Year to track this exact threat. They have been monitoring the slide for decades, while the public was told it was just a weather cycle. What is it about the number 17? In the Cayce archives, and in the raw data of planetary physics, 17 degrees is not just an angle. It is the gravity lock breaking. To understand this, think of the Earth as a massive, spinning gyroscope. As long as the gyroscope stays upright, it is a fortress of stability. But if you tilt it too far, it reaches a point of no return. It begins to wobble, fighting a losing battle against its own momentum. Researchers decoding Cayce's data have identified that exact point, the 17-degree anomaly. It works like an electromagnetic glue. As long as the magnetic North Pole stays within 17 degrees of the Earth's physical axis, the friction between the crust and the molten core remains locked. But once that displacement crosses the 17-degree line, the magnetic torque fails. The glue snaps. At that precise moment, centrifugal force takes over. The planetary skin, the very ground you are standing on, begins to slide. It is no longer searching for north. It is searching for a new center of gravity. According to NOAA's tracking, at 55 kilometers per year, the pole is scheduled to strike this 17-degree red zone between late 2025 and early 2026. We are not waiting for a prophecy to come true. We are waiting for a gear to slip. And when that gear slips at 17 degrees, the sky will be the first to bleed. The sky is not just a ceiling. It is a circuit board. And right now, that circuit is shorting out. The first sign of the 17-degree break is appearing directly over your head. In the Cayce archives, he warned of a blighting of the atmosphere before the final shift. Today, we call it the red signal. Usually, our planet's magnetic shield deflects solar winds, creating the peaceful green auroras of the north. But the shield has weakened by 15% in the last century. The gravity lock at 17 degrees is failing. In 2024, the protection officially cracked. Massive solar storms pushed the aurora as far south as Florida, Arizona, and the Mediterranean. But the color was a deep, bruised crimson red. This is atmospheric ionization. Cosmic particles are hitting our oxygen at altitudes they should never reach. The sky is literally burning from the inside out. But you feel it deeper than technology. Inside your brain, the pineal gland acts as a sensitive magnetic antenna. Many researchers in the field of biomagnetics suggest that the intensifying red signal may be a factor in the sudden surge of insomnia, the vivid dreams, and the global humming anxiety reported today. It is as if our internal compass is trying to tune into a planet that is changing its song. Casey warned that when the sky begins to bleed, the clock is no longer measured in years. It is measured in events. The Vesuvius is exhaling, and it has a 90-day message for the west coast of America. Do not look at the fault lines in California yet. Look across the Atlantic. Nature has established a physical gear system, and the first two teeth are beginning to slip. In Reading 3976-15, Edgar Cayce provided a surgical if-then formula for our generation. He gave a synchronized trigger. He stated that when there is a simultaneous increase in activity within Mount Vesuvius in Italy and Mount Pelée in the Caribbean, the countdown officially hits 0. To the geologist, this is a planetary pressure relief valve. These two volcanoes sit on opposite sides of a massive tectonic lever. When they breathe together, it means the deep pressure within the Earth's core has reached its limit. Cayce was precise about the window. Once these two giants wake up, the west coast of America has exactly 90 days, 3 months. This is the time frame before the irreversible inundation begins. He didn't just say flooding, he said inundation by earthquakes. This suggests a catastrophic land subsidence where the very ground you stand on loses its buoyancy and quietly returns to the sea. Right now, in 2024, the first watchman is already screaming. At Campi Flegrei, scientists are tracking the most intense seismic swarms in 40 years. The Italian government has quietly updated its mass evacuation protocols. The stopwatch is ticking in the Mediterranean. Now, all eyes are on the Caribbean. If Mount Pelée exhales this season, the 90-day clock starts for Los Angeles, San Francisco, and the heart of the Salt Lake Basin. While the world watches the coastlines vanish, a quiet race is happening in the interior. It is a race for the spine of the continent. In Reading, 1152 to 1001, Edgar Cayce identified a region he called the Granary of Safety. He specifically pointed to the highlands of Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and the southern parts of Canada. He didn't choose these places for their beauty. He chose them for their foundation. Geologically, these states sit directly on top of the North American craton. This is a massive anchor of solid rock, 4 billion years old. Beneath the craton, the Earth's crust reaches a staggering 250 kilometers. It is a fortress of stone. It does not fracture. It does not slide. Most importantly, this ancient rock acts as a magnetic heat sink. When the 17-degree shift begins and the poles destabilize, the craton is the only place that provides magnetic grounding for the human nervous system. The elites are already making their moves. Billionaires like Bill Gates have quietly become the largest private farmland owners in the United States, focusing their acquisitions in the exact regions Cayce named. Whether they know the archives or not, their actions align with the data. They are positioning themselves on the only stable rock left on the planet. Contrast this with Mark Zuckerberg's decision to build a $100 million pond in Hawaii. The data suggests two different strategies. One is a gamble on isolation. The other is a calculated move to the ancient craton anchor. Why do some build bunkers they might never need? Because a physical shelter is only half of the equation. You cannot hide from a magnetic shift behind a steel door alone. In Reading 262-28, Edgar Cayce stated a law. Life is vibration. Your body is not a solid object. It is an antenna. And at the center of that antenna is your heart. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute have measured that the heart's magnetic field is thousands of times stronger than the brain's. It is your personal frequency regulator. When the 17-degree shift occurs and the planet changes its song, your nervous system must be able to receive the new signal. If your heart is heavy with lead, the frequency of fear, anger, and scarcity, you enter what Cayce called the frequency trap. Fear creates magnetic resistance in your cells. You could be in the deepest bunker on the North American craton, but if your heart is tuned to panic, the external world will mirror your internal chaos. Science calls it epigenetics, the study of how trauma is written into your DNA for 7 generations. The scarcity of your ancestors act as magnetic static. In Reading 257-211, Cayce revealed that those born between 1945 and 1965 were deployed as chain breakers. You are the surgeons of the DNA. When you choose peace over reaction, you are performing alchemy. You are transmuting the lead of your ancestors into the gold of a sovereign soul. To navigate what is coming, your physical preparation must match your internal frequency. The elites are running for the mountains, but you are being called to stand your ground. In the Cayce records, survival is not a physical race, it is a frequency alignment. Right now, as the 17-degree anomaly destabilizes the Earth's axis, the planet is looking for biological anchors. There is a law in physics called entrainment. It states that a strong, coherent vibration will always force a chaotic one to sync with it. Fear is heat. Panic is a short circuit. If you allow yourself to be swept up in the global terror, you become part of the friction that causes the crust to slide. But if you can hold a frequency of stillness, you become a magnetic heat sink. One sovereign soul in a state of absolute calm can stabilize the magnetic grid for a 50-mile radius. You are the counterweight to the 17-degree shift. We are building a decentralized grid of safety right now. It is a network that no pole shift can break. I want you to mark your coordinates in the system. Go to the comments below. Type the name of your city or state, followed by 3 words. I am still. Read the locations of the others. Watch the map of the living bridge light up across the globe. By typing those words, you are signaling to the collective mind that your pillar is active. You are telling the universe that this specific coordinate is anchored by your presence. You are not a victim of 2026. You are the correction. The forbidden map is complete, but the key is not on the surface. Edgar Cayce said the record of our future was left in a safety deposit box made of stone. In Reading 5750-1, he pointed to the right paw of the Great Sphinx. For decades, the world called it a dream, until 1991. In that year, Dr. Thomas Dobecki and John Anthony West stood on the Giza Plateau. They were there to prove a chilling truth. The Sphinx was not eroded by wind, but by thousands of years of heavy rain. It was a monument that survived the Great Flood. When they ran the ground-penetrating radar, the data went solid. 5 meters beneath the limestone, they located a perfect rectangular chamber. 9 meters by 12, human-made, sealed for 12,000 years. Shortly after the radar detected a rhythmic vibration coming from inside the void, the authorities revoked the permits. The maps were classified. The desert was silenced. But according to Cayce, this is not a library of books. It is a library of frequency. The Hall of Records is a synchronization device. It was built to wake up when the Earth's magnetic shield hits the 17-degree limit. It is the external arc designed to resonate with the Van-Gold light in your own DNA. As the North Pole races toward Siberia, the stone beneath the Sphinx has begun to hum. The Giza Plateau is currently under a high-security lockdown. They call it restoration. The archives call it the unsealing. You were born between 1945 and 1965 to witness the opening of this door. You carry the matching frequency for the technology hidden inside. In our next dossier, we declassify the 1991 radar footage and reveal the race for Giza that is happening behind closed doors right now. The signal is live. The shift is here. Welcome to the new Earth.
Okay. Now, keep up with Agya Paul is going to lead us to earthquake preparation. Please begin. Agya Paul?
Yes. Yes. So if we can all just exhale and inhale and exhale. And please sit straight with your spine straight. So this meditation is to prepare for earthquakes, but just any possibility of any earth-related, anything earthly related, like climate change, tidal wave, tsunami, anything that our Mother Earth is detoxing with or by. So any natural phenomenon. And so this meditation, what it will do for you, it will bring health and healing ability. It will fertilize the brain so you can't sink into depression. It will eliminate fatigue and give a constant flow of energy and make you intuitive and universally sensitive. So please, as you're sitting straight, hold your hands at your solar plexus in fists. So like right at your diaphragm from last week, it's right at your solar plexus in fists. And extend your right index finger, your Jupiter finger, on both hands. So you have fists, and now your right Jupiter fingers are extended. And your left palm, the palm of your left hand is facing up, please. And the palm of your right hand is facing down. And then take your fingers, your Jupiter fingers, and place your right index finger on top of your left index finger so that the fingers cross like exactly at the middle segment of your the second segment of your finger. So it's like a cross that you create. Okay. And so you keep them there. So your right finger is on top of the left finger, left palm facing up, right palm facing down. Cross so that the fingers are connected at the second segment. Okay, so now this is great. So now what we can do is, as we sit, we'll inhale deeply and slowly. This is really key, right? Inhale deeply and slowly. If you want to count to 15, sometimes that takes my attention off things, but it's however it works for you. The idea is slowly, and then exhale, pucker your lips. So when you exhale, it's kind of like forceful, and but you're exhaling also slowly. Okay, so you're not like pushing air out really fast. It's powerful, but it's slow, and you're focusing on the fingers that are crossed. You may have to move your hand a little bit so that you can coordinate so that you can feel your breath coming out onto them. And your fingers may feel cold, they may vibrate, but make sure you have that connection and feel, also meditate on the prana that's on your breath as it's coming out. Um, so we're going to do this for 5 minutes. And when at the end of 5 minutes, I'll time us, and you can lock your fingers together and just stretch, really stretch. Okay, good. So, with all of that in mind, let's take a deep breath and I'll set us up. And okay, perfect. So, inhale and begin. Slow inhale, forceful, slow exhale, feeling the prana on the breath, feeling the fingers cold and maybe vibrating. Okay, and inhale, please. Lock your fingers and stretch as you exhale. And come back to your space. Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful. I'm not sure what that special meridian contact is. I have to look more into that. But I don't know if anybody else. I felt body heat just building in me. Whew.
Good. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. I could feel it.
Yeah. And then use 1 minute heart jumping, which is heart breath with breath of fire. And begin. Inhale. Exhale. And continue 5 minutes CNR and begin. Inhale. Exhale. And breathe. And now we have 2 minutes for listening. And inhale. Exhale. And breathe. And now I'll get Paul.
So this was a very different meditation
Mm-hmm.
because when I was in CNR, there um there was, it wasn't tinnitus, but there was like a humming inside. There was a vibrational frequency. Well, I guess that's redundant. But anyway, it's like there was a vibration um that I was hearing, listening to. And hmm,
Did you
so
know that is um, uh, using fifth dimension and listening for your DNA getting better?
wow.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, because what um what I've been experiencing, so there were no real words that I got from this meditation. It was this feeling, and I was really riveted, focused on it. And I felt like jumpy. It wasn't anxiety, it was jumpy. I mean, it was just like wanting to jump around. And I, at the same time, hearing this, and it wasn't that I wanted to get away from it, it wasn't annoying, but it was, yeah, noticeable. And so it waked me out a little bit listening to this about the 17-degree, the shift and so on. And it was like, woo, like that. So going into the meditation, going into the and then the CNR, it really helped me just to settle back and to sort of go with the flow and feeling like, okay, like as you're saying, things are being recalibrated in my energy. The subtle body is being, and there's a part of me that just would just as soon like totally ignore all this.
Say
And
it again.
just, there's a part of me that I'll speak for it, and it would just as soon forget all about this, because there's a sense of, woof, there's a lot going on here, and it's all behind the scenes. I'm not used to being behind and seeing things behind the scenes, so there was a part of me that was kind of resisting all of this. And then as I just continued in CNR, um, I moved into a more peaceful place for sure. And then it was like I could hear the birds singing in a sense, and then of course I went outside and I heard the real birds singing, and it feels really peaceful and very healing to listen. So yeah, so this was different, I have to say this is different than most all of my meditations. And sitting, moving into that space, like you said, of being recalibrated, and with DNA being, I too have a lot of epigenetic karmas, and I guess we all do, and created my share of them for sure. And all of this, it feels like it is being, for lack of a better word, healed and settled and settled, but yeah, and so this is happening, and I realized right at the end there that go with it, go with the flow, let go of the resistance. Mother Earth is releasing all her toxins and everything that we have done to her. So she's healing as we all are healing in the shift into the new earth. So sometime, and the last thing I'll say is what I've been feeling is being in the, if you could say, interstices, like in between the old earth and the new earth. It's like, and that's kind of where I've been finding myself, like in between, not totally out of the old earth, and but most of the time, and then not quite into the dimension, the fifth dimension. So it's kind of difficult, like not purgatory, but it's like in between, in this liminal state. And I think the the message on that was just go with the flow, stay with it. The body is adjusting. My energy centers are adjusting, and it's no easy task, and it's happening. And yeah, and so, just let it happen. And I'm listening to the birds now, and and the increased sensitivity as I've been doing this meditation, increased sensitivity to wildlife around, nature, birds, deer, is really happening. So more or less finding a deeper connection with them. And yeah, so that's what I have to report for today. And thank you all for being there and listening. And so I feel everybody's presence, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
Mm.
Great. Do you remember about the what we were talking about a couple of months ago about what do you call coherent heart light? Do you remember that?
Oh, heart coherence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's important because that helps to change the earth, the nets, NETS, the ley lines.
Ah, uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, in fact, last night I was just saying to, after doing CNR, I'm like, oh, how much can just me do? How much can I just do? I'm sending as much, pumping out as much love and so on and so forth. And then the answer was, I forget what I was reading or watching. It was like one person, just one person sending love and light can affect, um, you know, a huge portion of the earth, maybe changing these way lines and so on and so forth.
that's right.
Um, so, but anyway,
And we have you seen a lot of people talking about love? I can
yeah, a
I
lot of people.
even see the uh, car bumper about love and see the sign next to the churches for love.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody.
It's happening. So
And yeah,
everybody, keep it up.
and there's much more to when we say love, much more to it than, you can't give it lip service, it's just like, wow, this is big.
You got it. You got it. Yeah. And I've heard that there were 8 million people at
Yes,
No Kings.
yes,
Isn't that amazing?
yes,
And,
yes.
mhm. And so keep up with that.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay. Now, Gian Sprem.
Nam, thank you for the beautiful meditation. Um, yes, I was for me personally, I was noticing the triangle and the strength of the fingers, and I was able to move the discomfort through my breath and find a place in my elbows where I could come out with some balance. Yeah, but the strength of two fingers together and noticing the support, of which was holding more and which was needing support more, and then coming to a point of equality there for, with the breath and the changes. So that helps to create clarity, and I was sitting comfortably and everything. So that was really beautiful, help relax and come back to the center after listening for a while. So, and it's just beautiful to be going through these changes and, noticing what I've been going back to as far as my learning, and then with the earth sciences. So, and yes, being here away from the place of my birth, but in a place where I've spent time. I'm up here now in the Pacific Northwest. So I've been noticing this week. where I am and where the mountains are and where the ocean is and where the lines are and where. So with the graphs and whatnot, I'm coming to the vertical, reminding me to come back to the vertical and notice where the crossings are. And, it's like a hair, right? 17 degrees, like a split hair, sort of, it grows so long and then it'll split at the end. That's a little bit what I'm given. And then we can notice the correlation in the grass, um, and how the grass is growing and coming back to the time of seeding for that reminder of the earth. And I'm seeing the womanly guide coming in, and there's a lot of dancing going on. There's sort of nuclear dancing, and the planets are moving in different ways, and we're going to see things that are going to change our view with these changes. So just settling into that and noticing the brain and the heart and the functions of the body through these systems that we're dealing with now, right? Coming to the realization of freedom with the love in there, the evolution that's allowed through that, coming into noticing just the losing of the opinion for all of the information that come through with our guides for our way of being here with this energy. And of course, we can refer back to the species, or I will, as part of my personal experience. And it's really just coming powerfully through how we are as equal as the person. So going back to my best example and my worst example through my experiences or through history or how it goes. We all have stories that we can tell, and I think that they're all coming together now through so many stories over the time and the marks on our DNA over the billions and trillions and how many zillions. So there are many aspects of life that we're learning about now through the coming together of the ages and all of the information that we have now. And it's beautiful to come back to that Waheguru of knowing that, okay, we know as much as we know, but yet we're still so touching and scratching the surface, right? And the skin of the earth is so important to, the delicacy of if we look at our own skin and the delicate layers, and then we go within and we see the complexity of the machine, how it works, and the ways that we're going into that practice. So we have examples around us of freedom and of ways of restriction and our ways of building. So we've come to so many different ways coming at us or from our being. And sometimes we have to go back to the process, or we don't have to, but we will be going through the process at the end of our time breathing in this body through this way, right? We'll evaporate. We'll leave our skin. We'll step out of our eyes and go above our eyes. If we've had any of us have had experiences like that within our body, certain practices, physical practices that will cause your eyes to move up another level where it looks like you're seeing down on something. Or it could be there are other traumatic experiences. There are varied experiences that happen nowadays through all of these drugs and ways that we've experimented that it's not far for us to even grasp that through our everyday life of how delicate it can be through all of this ways that we're moving through ultimate power, through no power, right? And it's for us to have for our personal experience, but it can also be through our practice, right? So how we're living, how we're moving, how we're speaking. So moving out there with this way of freedom of with all the species, with the free movement, with all of these things that are flying around us, right? And how do we become friendly with birds? Can we do that? It's varied amongst opinions, okay? But if you sing and if you bring yourself out and just call yourself to notice the maha, that way, the maha sukapaya, or just calling out this exaltation sometimes of breeding, right? We're breeding more thoughts. We're bringing that in onto our DNA to notice all of these things that we've been through, to notice the strength that we're having moving forward. And then the earth can come, right? It does through our studies, we know that it was all once one landmass, and then it split apart and does beautiful things, and that it's been a long time. We are expecting it to happen because inevitably it will happen. And this is part of our movement of coming back together. Now we have billions of people. So and there's so many epics and written down that we can go to, right? We can go to Africa, we can go to India, we can go to China, we can come here to the United States, and we can read these beautiful stories of how we're traveling. We're traveling within our own body, right? We're moving like a nuclear device when it comes down to it, but yet we're moving along on this planet too, and with all of these other things. So coming back to that Wahe Guru is so beautiful, and being in that way, right, where we can come again to join our stories and to see what's happening in our lives together, that it's just amazing. I mean, I find that when, for me, I lost a person in my life that was a big part of my father's life, and finding that appreciation through the ways that the signals come through, right, through our way of processing that, or even we may have a feeling inside of us that's telling us, oh, what's this, okay, and then go within, and then maybe it tells you to, if we have families or friends, or even in the news, sometimes we can feel the news, right? Because we dealt with so many stories. We've led ourselves up with these practices of love and freedom, and we're still having to face it as we come to it in our personal experience. So, and then leaving room for others, right? To listen, and for us to notice how we're bringing that information forward, right? Because there's a lot of things that we're noticing before we lay our weapons down, before we can notice if we do have weapons, what they may be, and that can take a while, right? So the understanding of that all one family thing, we're all one family, we're all here to, it's okay. I can say sorry, or at any given time I can say I love you at any given time, for me to try to come back and notice that part of me that may have missed it at one point, and now I'm trying to do this, right? So there's the change that I can notice, that okay, now I'm here and I've already put my weapon aside or recycled it, and seen how they've done it before, and ways that they've brought it forward to these instruments that we're using now. It's okay, right, that we have ways of curing ourselves, right, through these machines that we've made now. It's just amazing that we can go in and see ourselves, our energy, our blood flow. We have these, so, and it will come to the time that we all get to walk up to that door, right? I'm going back to the door again, of the open doors, of each of us being able to open any door and go in there and into the lab, and or into the mud pit, or how we are learning, because we've certainly had, with all of these billions of people before us, ways of learning. Some of us live close to the water, some of us live up really high, so we'll have different ways of learning that, of having that experience. And nowadays we get to share it through virtual reality and whatnot, but yet within our own knowing, that inner knowing is the space where it's just so powerful, the place to be, to face that freedom and face that life, and say, okay, it's okay, there, we are all doing this, some are doing on this side, some are doing on this side, so it's, we're, no matter what, we're still always here together. And I was back to the hen again, who has a line of eggs inside of her system and just lays the eggs until the eggs are gone, right? That's their way, their inner way of how they work, and they're laying out life, on where they go. Some of it's food. Nowadays, it's nearly all food, but it also is life. So, and back to noticing that seed of, where I've been, and the people that I've been able to meet and sit and chant with, and it's so cool now, because I don't, maybe I'm just dreaming about seeing Sonatam and Simrit together in concert, because I think that would be like, to me, would be like the mind blowing thing for us to get together and do, to have all those people come together and chant and sing and just celebrate the ways of, our coming and going through the generations, the seven before and the seven after, and coming back to that Waheguru that's in me and you. Yeah, it's so beautiful to have this here on, April Fool's Day or April 1st, or however you want to look at it. And, you know, Nanikajita. Yeah. I'm brought back to that Maha Sukhapaya. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to exalt myself in that particular chant because I can't say all the words right now because they're not right in my memory. So yeah, to go into that practice. And it's back to like, I turned on Sesame Street again yesterday because I just had to see what my reaction would be. And it's just still a beautiful show. I had to laugh till I, got that little giggle in me and said, okay, yeah, it's good to progress and to learn and to see how we change and the ways that we're doing things. And with billions of people here, it's so beautiful to have that ability to turn that station, right? To turn that channel, to adjust that frequency in to where, we can pick up our signal, our channel that's moving through. Yeah. And Waheguru to that, the way of sharing and coming forward for this equality. Yeah. Thank you so much. And everybody coming together with such pride and joy that it's not a bad thing. It's not a toy. It's just something that we can sort of have with us
Okay,
in the
I want
Waheguru.
to
Thank
ask you
you.
something. Okay, because on email, I find that there are, when you say it's, I think it's at least every month can have like on Zoom for kirtan. And would you like to have that?
I have been practicing kirtan daily for some years now, and I've been doing it on Saturday. So absolutely, that would be wonderful. I've been doing it on Saturday with the group here. We started a few years ago, and it's wow, it's so amazing to have that energy that we can work with. Yeah. So
Okay,
absolutely, I would love to do that with more people.
great. And as soon as I can figure it out, I will give that to Japa Saraswati to be able see that to all the people, all the light workers. Okay,
Done.
okay, okay. Japa Saraswati, is that okay? Oh, look at that. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Okay. Heidi Munder.
Yeah. We're still in the middle of winter here
Mm,
in
yeah.
South Alaska, which is the banana belt of Alaska.
Mhm.
And there are berms 4 and 5 feet tall on the side of the road of the street. And here we are in April, and it's like Christmas never left. The experience of the meditation was very, very peaceful. It was lovely. Um, um, what was interesting while Gian Das Prem was talking, I had a sudden a sudden sense of, I wouldn't call it danger, but of something happening or has happened. And I have a couple of questions Um, the understanding during the Yogi Bhajan times was sit on a sheepskin because the vibration of the or the frequency of the planet was too strong and we needed a buffer. At the same time, there was, but now I have an actual a mat that plugs into the what do you call it? Not the electricity of the grounding. It's a grounding mat, and it only works evidently if bare skin is touching it. So it seems like opposites. One is protecting you from the vibration of the earth, and the other one is connecting you to the vibration of the earth. So that is a question I have that has come up. And the other question, in listening to your 17 degrees and stuff, right at the very beginning, you mentioned February 17th, 1976. And what got my attention was that everything changed this year on February 17th. So I'm curious about those two dates and what, whether it has anything to do with anything. But it's one of the things I'm asking every morning and being the anchor is writing out today will be my peaceful day and whatever else, sharing Ho'oponopono vibration, the healing within. But have been also adding welcoming, or today will be full of synchronicities. And so I find this February 17th, 50 years ago, to 17th to February 17th today, or, that we just experienced. It's certainly a synchronicity that is odd. So those are my experiences of today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I don't know what you're talking about the mat because I've never heard of that. So maybe find that from the maker about that.
No, it's not about, it's I've been reading about it for years, and it's grounding. It's plugging into the ground of the plug in your wall. There's two prongs from electricity, but then there's the ground, and this simply plugs into the ground. And there are sheets that have silver in them that relax one, and so it's a whole technology. It's been around for a while, but this is the first time I have ever.
How do you like it, Harimandir? Because Jagat Guru and I have been talking about it for years.
Well, I just bought the sheets. I haven't used them yet, but with the sheets came this mat that you can put under your feet.
Mm.
I was just sitting on it, but then it also comes with a little gauge that you can touch to see if it's actually grounding. and it said that I was sitting on it kind of like I sit on a sheepskin, but it's cold. Um,
Mm.
and so I didn't like sitting on it. And I wasn't, well, the only skin that was on it was when without any shoes or, without any socks on. But what's interesting right now, I put it on the ground, and this morning, right now, it feels vibrational to me, even though so I'm sitting on a sheepskin. My feet are on the ground on this grounding thing. And I don't particularly want to sleep on the sheets because I like flannel. And anything that I put even very lightly um, over the mat, it wouldn't light up. And
Mm.
it was not directly on the skin, didn't light up. So you can't put another sheet over the actual.
That's
Um,
very interesting.
Mhm.
so that's my experience of that. That's brand new. I've only had it a couple of weeks.
Okay, so we'll just listen next time to find out what's happening.
Well, is it my turn? Because I have two. What I will say about the sheepskins is that I always found them to be incongruous as like most devout Hindus will specifically even they're supposed to religiously avoid leather. And I always found the sheepskins to be incongruous with a yogic lifestyle. And I question Yogi Bhajan's motives for promoting them. And
Oh,
then
now wait a minute. Japa Saraswati. You can see there are, what do you say, some, for instance, like Baba Siddhi Chand and
on a tiger skin,
yes, and or deer skin.
yes.
Hmm. So so that's what I can say. That's it.
Yes, I'm aware of that and I stick by what I've said. And then what I want to come to next is actually to respond to Agyapal about the meridians that well, and this is part of my this is my messaging from Baba Siddhi Chand about the crossing the meridians at the fingers. What you were experiencing was heat, which is of course tapas, which is burning off of karma, that you were doing by it's about your electromagnetic field. It's actually literally about your electromagnetic field, and I'm going to share with everybody after this a video explaining the meridians in the fingers and basically how it is recharging when we cross them like that. It's like recharging our electromagnetic field.
Wow.
Yeah. And so also though, it's also that meridian in the body is also the meridian for the large intestine, which is responsible for digestion, which is about assimilating nutrients and kind of separating the prana from the apana, so to speak. Not even so to speak. It really is. So it's about digestion and assimilation, but it's also about emotional balance and releasing grief, releasing, like, I have this composting toilet downstairs that I love. And occasionally, sometimes when I'm in there, not even like today, I dropped something and I swore in there, and I'm not usually like it was kind of like it was kind of sharp, and I realized that that is the place of the waste of the apana. And sometimes like it happened when I had guests here who had really heavy baggage and really heavy apana. And I definitely cursed. And I also dropped a big piece of wood on my hand back then when I was cleaning out the toilet. And anyway, but it's about releasing grief, and which I'm definitely feeling with all of my emotional baggage and my physical baggage of the all of the stuff that I just have been moving in. And also, so the big intestine is also about the immune system, uh, for how do you say, like knowing which germs are going to be the beneficial germs versus which germs are the ones that we don't need, basically. Once again, that's separating the wheat from the chaff, the prana from the apana. Okay, so now switching gears, I have messy notes. But switching gears again is about, have you guys heard about this guy? His last name is Bledsoe, and he was abducted by aliens, or maybe not abducted, but he had an alien experience where he lost 4 hours of time, but came back with these deep memories of like a much longer period of time of spending with I think they were the Greys. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to, but anyway, um, and his cases are really well documented. And anyway, in 2012, he released that he had a dream that we were going to have major alien contact on Easter Sunday, 2026. So
Well,
speaking of just the dates, yeah, so that's
a
been like,
couple of days.
it's in a couple of days. And it's also, he also described a, I don't know if it's, I don't want to call it a conjunction, but the image of a red star being over the Sphinx. And as it turns out, there will be this kind of alignment. And there's all of this other like prophecy rolling into it. Um, but they're saying that then the aliens are going to come forward. So I'm going to shift gears back and then going forward again. So, with earthquakes in Haiti, the earthquake was incredibly, incredibly shallow. It was only 8 miles deep, and it's usually much, much, much deeper than that, like 60 miles deep. And on the area where it was where the earthquake happened, they say that this is not the case, okay? But I'm just going to tell you my lived experience that I saw this to be the case, that the area um where the epicenter of the earthquake was incredibly deforested, and it was also low-lying, like near the mouth of a bay. So it wasn't exactly reclaimed land, but it was land um, that had been affected by floodwaters and by, what do you call them, mudslides in the past. And they had lost so much topsoil, and there wasn't much of anything. It was very shallow. And then the kind of earthquake that they had, like there are different kinds of earthquakes, and this is where the plate shifts laterally, and that's technically why it was so shallow. But I'm going to tell you guys that it was so shallow because of how deforested it was. And also, um, what I felt from Baba, what part of my message was on the from the meditation was about drilling. What did he show me? Hold on, I wrote it down. Uh, Oh, messing with the Earth's crust with drills and mines, and that oil is for drills and mines are for minerals and precious things in the ground. And okay, so I think I want to say it's on May 1st. They're gonna start to in America dilute the gas by 10 more percent. with ethanol, I believe, and that this actually decreases our gas economy. It decreases the gas mileage. But they're doing it basically to water down the gas to make it go 10% further. And it is not as good for the environment also. Um, and when I heard this, I immediately said, "Oh my gosh, they're just devaluing gold." Like they're messing with the gold standard basically, but not the gold standard, the oil standard. Like they just are taking it and they're making it worth 10% less in order to rig the markets. Um, so anyway, um, this is changing the value of commodities. And and yes, and it's really going to affect the global economy. Like even like it's almost like a distraction to make it seem like something else is happening, but actually this is tightening the screws and making it worse. And it's shifting the values of other things in our economies. So what I'm really seeing is about how this is going to affect agriculture and farming. But this is also, I want to come back to the aliens because I believe that this is why Bledsoe's prediction for the aliens was coming. He also said that we would be at war with Iraq. And what I'm feeling is that the aliens are coming to, I want to say almost interject or to intervene or to I don't think that but it's that we're about to do something so serious that beings from other planets are coming to be of aid to us. But there's more. Can I have a second?
Oh, yeah.
Um, all right. Um, there's more. Uh, can we just pause it for right now though? I think there's actually more. I just don't know how to even start and say it. And I don't know exactly. Maybe it's for another time. Um, I think that there's something nuclear, or at least, you know, Holocaust. It means fire. Uh, but it's that I'm feeling, like they say that the number of people who will, if, what do they call it? Oh, I guess maybe it's for next week or something.
Okay. Because that would be great because next week we will have meditation for atomic radiation.
Yeah,
And that's what Baba Siddhi said.
yeah.
Do you want to write that out?
Write what out?
What you want to hear?
I don't, I think I'll just follow up on it next week. Um or something. I feel like, or maybe it'll just even come out in our text message chats, you know?
Okay, that would be good.
Yeah. Because I frequently feel like I want to just add something to the text messages or that I'm remembering as I listen to the recording. Um, And then I just want to text it to everybody because I feel like that's an easy way to communicate. I don't know. How do you guys receive when I send the audio messages? Those are disappearing audio messages, and I can't tell if people have gotten them or not. Is that a nice way for people to receive messages, or is that a rotten way to receive messages?
Oh, this is Harimander. I don't know what you're talking about. What it's something we should just click on and hear your voice, or what do you mean? What do you
On
mean?
on our text message chat, because we are an iPhone chat, we have the feature to send each other audio messages, and I use it personally, like for one person. When you use it for one person, the message disappears after 2 minutes after you send it. So that means that if you've sent a message that's 2 minutes and 2 seconds, you have a nanosecond to push this tiny, tiny little keep button at the bottom if you want to keep it. And if you do want to keep it, that stores in the memory of your phone, and you have that in the same way that you would have downloaded, for example. You could download the PDF for the survival kit and keep that on a tablet or a phone. And that would still require electricity, but it would be downloaded onto your onto your device instead of having to print it out on paper. But coming back to the audio message, if you don't keep the audio message, it disappears into the ether, and I find that frustrating, but it's very
Yeah.
nice to receive
No,
audio.
because I'm very slow, but I want more. Okay. Is that okay?
More audio?
Yeah, for anything.
I,
Okay.
I
Of
prefer the
your,
written if that's possible.
Okay.
And I have no idea about your audio. I've never seen anything or heard anything unless I'm supposed to see it as you send it, which I don't do. So I
Well,
would,
I'll send a trial. I'll send a trial right now or right after we close the call so that everybody can see what an audio message looks like, and then we'll see if it's something that people like or don't like. If it's not a success, then we don't do it. But I'd sent one or two in the past to our group, and I really liked it because it was like a 1 or 2 minute add-on to whatever I had said during the meditation earlier the week before. This was a couple months ago, probably. And it's nice to have the voice, but Agyapal is voicing that it's nice to have the written as well.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
but for your message, it stays there until you click on it and then it disappears.
Yeah, you click on it and you play it, and you have to put the phone up to your ear to hear it, and then it plays the audio message from the person.
Or you
And
can
then
put it on speaker. You don't have to put it on your ear.
yeah, you can put it on speaker, but I feel like I've had like because of it's already playing, it's a hassle. That's what I'm saying, is that maybe Apple has improved the technology, but I have found it to be very nice, but also a little limited. Because I've had to slap it up to my ear and then pause it and then rewind the first 3 seconds, and then the timer has already started ticking to my 2 minutes that I'm barely there for. And then I have to push the keep button that is so teeny tiny you can't even see it. And then the message half the time gets eaten up and I can't play it again. but it's also a very nice feature that some people really like.
Okay, but we want to see what your information,
Okay.
because we have problems with this, with the slow, excuse me, it's only 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
and small type, all
Hmm.
of that.
I know. I'm also having information about the 17, the number 17 with regard to the axis because I have these trees that are leaning sometimes. I don't know if you remember I had to have one removed last year, and I wonder if it gets beyond 17 degrees of lean if that's a critical number. And then I was thinking also about the 33rd degree Masons and all of the symbology of 33, and that 17 doubled is actually 34, but I wondered if that like 33 and a half was the tipping point, the age at which Jesus died, or we also have 33 vertebrae. And so I just was, I'd been thinking about that or meditating about that 17 degree thing as well.
Yeah, we've had, excuse me, excuse me, about synchronicity
Hmm.
is from uh, fifth dimension, and with our ETs, a lot of synchronicity. And I can't tell you if it's 17 or if it's immediately see in your time in your clock that says 10, 10, and so on. But there's a lot of synchronicity.
Yeah.
And for me, there's synchronicity with 17. One of my professors in graduate school would always say his favorite number was 17.
Mm.
And I always wondered, what is that about? And now it's coming back to me. And I'm wondering why it was favorite number was 17.
My grandfather's birthday was the 17th,
Wow.
and so it's been one of my lucky numbers since forever. And one of the reasons is that 17 is good, is that when you add the 1 and the 7 together, you get the 8, so it makes the symbol of infinity. So it's a number for prosperity. And like if you make a donation, for example, sometimes you're encouraged to make a donation that adds up to an 8 so that you have that number. So 17 is like sometimes a nice number to donate. Um and that's one reason why 17 is awesome.
And also my mom passed away on May 17.
Mm.
So yeah.
When I'm giving, I'm always giving to add it up to 9, which is a completion number.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Hadi Munder. And I can feel Jagat Guru has something to add about this too. She knows stuff. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm so glad that all of you are understanding this so that you're not going crazy.
Mm.
Okay, and we know how to prepare. So this is good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, so Hadi Mender, would you like to lead us?
Sure. So inhale and exhale. May the long time shine upon you. All of the
Surround
Around you.
you.
and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. Sa. And love you, love you,
Oh,
love you.
wait, I remembered something about the nuclear war, you guys. So part of my message is about that the people I feel that there are people at the top of our government who know what the aliens tipping point is, what the aliens 17-degree point is, that's a lever. Um and that Trump is using the Iraq situation like a lever to force something else, and that it's not actually Trump, that it's somebody else, that all of these people are being forced to this lever, and that's something why it's 17 degrees, and that there's kind of no good, there's no, I feel that there's no good way to know who's on the good side and who's on the bad side. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
because I feel that it's that the motives are obscured, that the motives not just obscured, that it's like it looks like it's one person, but it's because of a kinetic reaction
Mhm,
um that's happening, that it's like yeah, that's the feeling that I'm having, the kinetic reaction.
mhm.
And that's what the tipping point, there's trying to be a tipping point.
Thank you so much.
And I would like to add that I don't know if you guys know, but when you're hugging someone, if it's left ear to left ear, it's heart to heart. And I received that information from two different totally people, spaces, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, one from a Black man who felt he could walk through walls when my dad and his wife were in ER, and the other one was a strong Christian woman here in Alaska. The guy was in DC, and both of them were telling me the same thing. Um, and I'm passing that around in Juneau a lot. And people sometimes they say, "Oh yes, I just heard that." But I, all hugs are good. I'm doing a lot of hugging these days, and as a grandmother, I can, in the '80s I can hug almost anybody. Too. I mean, somebody I meet on the street or somebody. Anyway, but the way we normally hug is liver to liver, and we hug because we need. There's anxiety. This is what I've finally figured out for me as a way to explain it. But when we're with anxious or worried or needing a hug, that is sharing the angst, needing that human connection. But going left ear to left ear is heart to heart, and it's, while all hugs are good, heart to heart hugs just um, raise the level. And people have been very um, open and welcoming to that technology.
Mhm. Good. Okay.
Right, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everybody. Okay. God bless you all. Sat Nam.
Satnam,
Everyone.
Thank you.
great week.